All right, guys. So Michael Moore out here prodding Biden yet again. He released an article on his Substack that I'll walk you through here. The title is, "Just fucking do your bucket list, Joe. You literally have nothing to lose." So it wasn't that long ago, Michael Moore wrote an article basically detailing like, okay, you're a lame duck now. You have tremendous power. The Supreme Court literally just gave you basically total immunity for anything that might even conceivably be an official act on your part. And he was like, here's a list. Do all this shit, right? And so now this is like a follow-up article on that same topic. Let's dive into it here. By the way, we have to point out, what was it, like 645 million acres of land Biden protected from oil drilling now? He just did that the other day. He just raised Social Security payments. We covered that story the other day. So there actually are some things on the way out that I think are phenomenal. But of course, the downside is he gave another $8 billion to Israel. Another $8 billion to the genocidal, bloodthirsty maniacs in the Israeli government who carpet bomb civilians on a daily basis. All right, so here's what Michael Moore says. Dear President Joe Biden, it's been 3 months since I sent you my suggested list of executive actions that you could take in your last weeks in office. A bucket list, so to speak, filled with legal declarations to make the lives of your fellow Americans just a little bit better. I'm happy you took some of my advice. Thank you. Thank you for commuting the sentence of 37 of the 40 prisoners on death row to life without parole. That is true. That is true. We did do that. Thank you for pardoning 39 people and commuting the sentences of 1,500 others whose imprisonment would have been much shorter under today's laws. I saw the news that medical debt will no longer affect the credit scores of at least 15 million Americans and their families. Though none of these are as far as I would have hoped you'd go, yes, it's something. But it's not enough. You are still president, and you have nothing to lose, literally nothing. So buck up, Joe, put your Scranton shit-kicking boots on, and let's get some good done in this, your final week. Please start here. And so he lists it, put the Equal Rights Amendment for women into the Constitution. See, now that one, it's like, he literally just can't, like, change the Constitution on his own, so I don't know why you'd add this one. There are things he can do on his own, that's just not one of them, right? All right, he continues. Pardon Leonard Peltier. Make illegals Americans, so grant mass amnesty, pull the plug on arms and money to Israel. Yes, yes, yes. And by the way, he shares the same clip of Chris Hayes that we covered the other day, where even Chris Hayes, MSNBC host, basically turned on Biden and said, this is a disgraceful legacy, and you've destroyed the international order that you claim to believe in so dearly. And that's it. That's the list. Look, I love the idea of laying it out for him and saying, bro, you got nothing to lose. You got total immunity. For the love of fucking God, just walk through it. And I'll tell you, there's plenty of things you can do on your own. No problem with anything foreign policy wise. Anything foreign policy wise, you can do on your own. So like he says, cut off the money and the weapons to Israel. 100% do that. No question about it. Let's get it done. Whatever troops we have, right now we have a lot of troops in the Middle East. For if Israel decides, hey, we want to start a bigger war with Iran. And I would say, remove all of them. Get all of our troops out of the Middle East. There's no reason we should be there whatsoever. I would also say, whatever troops remain in Iraq. I mean, I think we still have some troops on the ground in Iraq. Biden nearly eliminated the drone war. I would fully eliminate the drone war. These are things, anything foreign policy-wise, he's the commander-in-chief. He can do whatever the fuck he wants on that front, right? So I would definitely say that. Outside of that, look, there's a bunch of big ones, but the thing about student debt reduction, and he's done a bunch of it. Some of it has stood up legally. Other parts of it have not stood up because the courts are MAGA and they're insane and they want students to suffer, right? But what he needs to do is eliminate all of the student loan debt and destroy the records. Wipe it all out, destroy the records. And so then you're in a position where even if the court says, hey, you can't do that, you go, I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's done. It's over. There's nothing we can do. The records are gone. We don't know who owes what. I wiped it all out. And the reason I wiped it all out is because I have the ability under the 1965 Higher Education Act to do exactly that. The Secretary of Education could wipe out all of the debt that the federal government holds. Guess what? The federal government holds like 96% of the debt. Gone. It's done. It's over. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Declare a national emergency and get rid of all medical debt. We've already seen Democratic governors in blue states buy up medical debt of their population for pennies on the dollar and then just wipe it out. You could do that. You could do that. There's a number of things you can actually do on your own. And then if/when it gets tested, just be like, it's done, bro. And this is an official act. So piss off, right? Medical debt, student loan debt, and there's other things too. You got put in the comment section below, guys, what you think Biden can and should do in his final time in office now, where, my inclination is to say anything he definitely can do, and even things where there's like a stretch of a legal argument for him to do it. Where I have a disagreement with Michael Moore is just the constitutional stuff, because literally no court in the country, even the most liberal court, would tell you, yeah, the president alone can change the Constitution. That's not how it works, right? But anything that there's a clear legal argument for it, or even like a stretch of a legal argument. I mean, one thing that we've talked about in the past, David Dayen, had wrote about this extensively, is you have the ability as president to declare a national emergency and under a certain provision of Obamacare, give everybody health care. Expand Medicare and Medicaid so everybody gets covered. I'm blanking on the name of the town, but there's a town that was destroyed environmentally, and as a direct result of that, basically everybody was given health care in that town. I believe it was part of Obamacare, and that provision, if you declare a national emergency, you give everybody health care, right? This is the type of shit we need to be thinking of now. This is the type of shit we need to be doing now, because we're up against a rogue extremist far right that doesn't care about the rules, doesn't care about the process, doesn't care about the institutions, doesn't care about democracy, and they're all in for evil shit. So it's time to be all in for good shit, right? And this is that conversation. So post below what you think he definitely can do, what he might be able to do on his own, and let's get talking about it, right? I will say I'm more pleasantly surprised than I thought I would be his final time in office. The increasing the payments for Social Security is a massive W. Massive, massive W. He also tried to give 8 million more people overtime pay. It was slapped down by a MAGA judge. And by the way, nobody talks about this. It drives me fucking crazy. The blocking the oil drilling, 645 million acres or whatever it was, great. There's a number of things. Hey, man, good stuff. But you got to keep going. You got to keep going. And the fact of the matter is, at this late date, it almost doesn't matter how much further he goes on this stuff, which is a shame, but his legacy is just, it's overshadowed by Gaza. And I think now everybody's coming to that realization. When you have 60 Minutes, MSNBC, you have many corners of the internet and corners of the political world that you wouldn't think would say certain things. Now they are saying it. And if the consensus is already there and he's not even literally out of office yet, what do you think the consensus is going to be in 10 years and 20 years? It's going to be like, holy shit, you oversaw a Nazi government doing a campaign of extermination and supported it, right? That's what it is. It's what it is. But in other areas, well, he should stop that. As Michael Moore points out, no more money, no more weapons for Israel. I would talk about sanctioning them. I'd talk about fucking arresting Netanyahu, right? But definitely cut off the money and weapons. And then on the domestic front, keep going, keep going, keep going. You were granted immunity from the Supreme Court. To not use that for good is like, what are we doing here? You're fighting with both arms tied behind your back.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.